اللغة العربية الفصحى والدرجة الثانية. ذلك لغتي من أولى إنجليزي. فهم؟ That was my language before English. So these teachers don't have a clue on what's really going on. I can start anywhere you want. But everybody recognizes the Nejiru, the Egyptians, the Nephilim, the so-called Hebrews. You follow that? The Pharaohs, the Greeks, the Malaika, the Arabic, or angelic beings, or heavenly hosts. You understand? And those beings descended down to earth. When they got here, they came here in what's referred to as a ru'ah or a rufa, in a soul or spirit state, an etheric body. The essence of you when you look in a mirror long enough and you realize you're looking from the inside out at your body. If you don't believe me, try it. Stand in the mirror and stare and look at yourself and keep talking to yourself. And you get a realization that the real you is on the inside looking out. This body is a bacteria that's plaguing the soul, the essence of you. In your Bible it says, man, what? I shake man of dust the ground and breathe into the breath of life, and man became us. The living part of you is called Nefesh Hayim, or Hayat, the life force. Language is key here. You understand?
Alright, so I wanted to play that because if you listen very closely, he says, inside of you is the life force. And he calls it the Haya. Let's go back just a little bit.
And breathe into the breath of life, and then he came up. The living part of you is called Nefesh Hayim, or Hayat.
Or Haya. So I think it's funny that you can find all of these references to his name and to the spirit of breath. You know, where you find it is just where you find it, right? So today we're dealing with the BLM.
We're here with Ammon Bundy, and he's the son of Clive and Bundy, and he was just telling us before the break that they were concerned about
that was just 2014
they saw because they had seen a lot of cows that were obviously had been separated from their calves. This is calving season.
Alright, we got a good video here. So we'll watch this one in a second.
Alex, we're here with Ammon Bundy, and he's the...
I was just gonna keep freezing there. Alright, now you know why your computer does it. It's all just to put advertisements.
Son of Clive and Bundy.
Not close the advertisement.
And he was just telling us before the...
And it continues. I've already paused it. Now it catches up to the pause.
Break.
This is all because
they
of
were
advertisements.
concerned about this before they saw because they had seen a lot of cows that were obviously had been separated from their calves. This is calving season. They're concerned that they're running these calves hard. They're running the cows hard. They're afraid that they're dying. So they wanted to see what was inside this truck, and that was a group of demonstrators. Let me show you first his where he was tasered right here on his neck, and you were also tasered elsewhere, right?
I was tasered on my arm, and then they hit my chest and my stomach. And you tore it out? Yeah, either I tore it out or some other people that were with me tore them out. As they were shooting them, they tear them out. Well, tell us what led up to this, and we want to talk about, because this is a real key thing. This is the key point about this is about their water rights, and that was what this ultimately turned out to be about. But tell us about the incident leading up to that. All right, so they're coming down. There was 14 units. They were protecting this backhoe and this dump truck. And we stopped the convoy in the intent to see what was in the back of that dump truck. And they immediately came out armed, and 13 units with 2 men and dogs each, at least 2 men and dogs, fully armed, came out and began to resist us from being able to see what was in the back of that truck. And it got quite heated. It was, pretty much just verbal for a while. And then one of the Rangers came up behind a 59-year-old woman and body slammed her. And after that, it literally exploded into, escalated tremendously. Slammed her into the ground. Yeah, from behind. You watch the video. It's from behind. Yeah. And then there was a continued confrontation forward, and then they started to tase me. They hit me, and I ripped the first ones off, or actually, it was a combination. There were several people who ripped them off, and then they tased me again, and we ripped them off again. Then they tased me again, and we ripped them off again. And anyway, it got to the point where we pretty much were backing them down. They were trying to stick their dogs on us, and we were... About how many people did you have? We had about 50 people. And there was about probably around 30 of them. Well, armed? Yeah, fully armed. And basically kept pressing that they needed to get in their truck, they needed to get out of here. And we were able to push them far enough that we did get a look in the back of the truck, and finally pushed them out of there and made them leave. What did you learn when you looked in the truck? Well, we thought that possibly going to be a rendering truck. They're going to have animals in there, but we did not find that. What we found was that they're destroying all the water pipes and all the water tanks that are throughout this land that have been here over 100 years. Destroying the infrastructure. Right. Sorry, Alex? They're destroying the infrastructure just like Stalin did in Poland and Ukraine. This is classic war against our infrastructure. NAFTA, GATT, all of it is to shut us down. It was reported yesterday by the LA Times, ranchers are shutting down nationwide. Beef prices are the highest ever recorded. Almost all the ranchers I know have been shut down, even though beef prices are the highest ever because of Big Agra having a bottleneck on the production of the meat packing. And so I want people to understand, this is the shutdown of America. This is Cloward and Piven to bankrupt us we're seeing right now. If you want welfare, you want to come here and have your babies for free, taxpayers will pay for it. If you want to come here and vote to take our guns, you can come into the country. But if you've got the land and the water tanks and the water pipes for 100 years, where the windmills, where this gentleman's great-great-granddaddy set it up, you're not allowed to do that. It will be destroyed by the criminals. Go ahead. Back to David Knight. I want Ammon to talk a little bit about those water rights, because those water rights... Yes, I wanted Ammon to talk a little bit about those water rights, because those water rights are very much like your property rights. You register your property rights at the county, state level. It's not at the federal level. And they can come in, if we're going to allow this to happen to these ranchers, they're going to do that to us individually. Talk a little bit about the water rights and what they try to do there, because they are destroying infrastructure, not only for you, but for the wildlife that's out here, right? That's correct. So those water rights were either purchased or inherited from, and originally came from homesteading, okay? And they're throughout this land here, and we have done improvements over the last 100...
That homesteading deals with the Homestead Act, when you, being dark-skinned, could not get your 40 acres and a mule. Caucasians were being handed land, given away. And it took them some time to go out and take these water tanks out. 150 years ago.
Years, and pipe those lines down all through this country with tanks and pipes, and the wildlife and the cattle have used that water for 100 plus years. They're tearing those out now. The reason they're doing that is because that is the one thing that ties those rights to this land. See, the grazing rights are also tied to the water. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if they have any, if we have any legal right besides just state taking over its sovereignty, which obviously we want to happen, but it's tied to those waters, and they know that, and that's why when they're tearing these out and they're coming down, that's why one dump truck and a backhoe has 13 armed vehicles on it, because they did not want us to see what was in the back of that, because they are destroying those waters. Now
they know where the critical points are to take our rights, to take our property.
Absolutely, it must be. Why in the world would they have 13 armed vehicles, over 30 men with military rifles and dogs to protect one backhoe and a dump truck?
Ask yourselves, what are you doing in this time of great challenge? What are you doing to unlock minds?
Alright, there we go. Infowars.com. And we have lots of BLM stuff. So, many people have sent this in. You know, I've saw it since the first person that sent it. This is back in February 22nd. What?
Well, the BLM has been caught destroying archaeological sites and artifacts, going against everything that it was meant to do to begin with. Now, the BLM keeps getting brought up here time and time again, but right now they're in violation of their own federal laws and regulations. And this is going down in Utah, and Utah has some history here, a unique history in regards to their state, how they've been fighting against different agencies, how much government land is owned there. And the ranchers have sued the BLM. The BLM has conducted raids across Utah. There's been federal lawsuits in the state of Utah over all this. And it goes beyond just one site. There's many different sites. And what they've done here is they have gone against everything that they were put in place to do, which was supposedly to protect these areas, which I think that has been abused as well. Labeling all these areas national parks. I can understand protecting areas.
Now, see, this is critical, because labeling these areas means that you can't claim the land and you can't go on some of these spots. Now, some of them are national parks, and some of them are restricted government area. Now you have to ask, why does the restricted government area in the middle of Utah surrounding national parks? Well, it has to do with what's been discovered there. And this was the whole point of them giving this land away. When they're sitting there promising you 40 acres and a mule, but handing this land away. This is manifest destiny. You must manifest your own destiny to hide their past. See, God doesn't want us to fight them. God put these man beasts aside a long time ago.
But it's more than that. It seems to just be staking a claim on it. Making it a World Heritage Site, which means it would be controlled by the UN. You see, like Mammoth Cave in Kentucky and other big parks that they just stake a claim to. You see, just in Mammoth Cave, it's a national park. Even though it goes underground, you still cannot even fly over the woods above it, because it's a national park. And if you ever wanted to go looking for your true history, you're going to get in trouble, and you're going to get fined $10,000, a year imprisonment, and if it's worth any more than $500, you're going to get double that, and then it starts at $100,000 for a second offense. Just because the water lines dropped on the creeks, and you were down there doing some digging, and you found some artifacts down there in California, what happened to it, man? Dug some stuff up, was like, wow. Went and showed some people to see what it was, take it to some experts, and then he got in trouble.
they dug up pre-Columbian artifacts which prove that your melanated buttocks has been in this land long before Columbus came. This bothers history that we're brainwashed with. So this is the importance of their claims on specific areas, especially areas related to what we call the Bible.
Then he got in trouble. You see, I think that needs to change. I think the game needs to be to where you need to give people an incentive to learn their history. Instead of getting them in trouble, say, all right, we'll pay you the money.
Did you just hear that? It just changed to about history. Now, you need to see what's going on in this video.
Just take it to some experts, and then he got in trouble. Then he got in trouble. You see, I think that needs to change. I think the game needs to be to where you need to give people an incentive to learn their history. Instead of getting them in trouble, say, all right, we'll pay you the money if you find something. Okay, this will give more people, this will prompt more people to come to you anyway with the artifact to get the money. I mean, if they're going to find it and keep it, then they're going to keep it. There's not much you can do to stop that anyhow. But the point here is the BLM is supposed to be protecting these lands, and what they've done is they've gone through, they've completely demolished roads or earth to lay down roads. Fresh roads with pavement. They're building campsites and campgrounds, and what they're doing is they're not excavating these areas. They're just digging the stuff up, plowing it off to the side. They have no clue what they've just bulldozed whatsoever. No regards to it, and they've done...
Well, that's the key. They do know what they're doing, and they don't have any regards to it. Because to pay regards to it means to say that there were people here in the Americas with a strong civilization, so strong we all run around with our own individual book of whom they are.
This to multiple sites. Now, if you or anyone else out there would have been caught doing this, you'd be in a world of trouble. And they know darn well they didn't excavate this whole place because it takes time. And see, that's another thing. All these scientists, the Smithsonian, all your law, who's going to spend the time to get out here and excavate all these sites across the country?
Oh, I'll tell you who. His name is John Wesley Powell. And he has quotes like, "You cannot see the Grand Canyon in one view, as if there were a changeless spectacle from which a curtain might be lifted. But to see it, you have to toil from month to month through its labyrinths." He also states, "We have unknown distance yet to run, an unknown river to explore. What falls there are, we know not. What rocks beset the channel, we know not. What walls right over the river, we know not. Ah, well, we may conjecture many things, but we're not going to know until we go out there and dig, dig, dig." Possible ideas and thoughts are vast in number. A distinct word for very distinct idea and thought would require a vast vocabulary. The problem in language is to express many ideas and thoughts with comparatively few words. Now, how do I express some ideas and thoughts with just a few words like good old boy John Wesley Powell has just stated? Well, big idea, few words. P-R-E. pre-Columbian. And it's best with just a few words we get people talking. With artifacts or history. Pre-Columbian artifacts or pre-Columbian history. Is what we're really aiming for in conversations. Express many ideas and thoughts with comparatively few words. Let's take some advice from John Wesley Powell.
You don't have enough manpower to do it. It's never going to get done. You don't pay the people worth of crap to do it anyway. And those that do find the stuff right now are getting in trouble. It's part of keeping your history a mystery. That's why it's that way.
Whose history?
You wonder what's inside those big mounds and everything else. They don't want you to go looking, and if they catch you doing it, you're going to get in trouble. You see, but
you do understand he's talking directly to you. Dare I say, there's a chance he could be watching some of the videos from time to time. I mean, listen to the way he's wording this. Your history. Those mounds.
Who's going to spend the time to get out here and excavate all these sites across the country? You don't have enough manpower to do it. It's never going to get done. You don't pay the people worth of crap to do it anyway. And those that do find the stuff right now are getting in trouble. It's part of keeping your history a mystery. That's why it's that way.
These people came over after Columbus. He knows that. He's not talking to them. He's talking to you.
You wonder what's inside those big mounds.
Keeping your history a mystery. And then he goes right into the big mounds.
Keeping your history a mystery. That's why it's that way. You wonder what's inside those big mounds and everything else. They don't want you to go looking, and if they catch you doing it, you're going to get in trouble. You see, but they're agencies that are tasked with protecting these places have been busted doing the exact same thing. And is anyone getting in trouble? You see, this is the problem. There needs to be someone policing the BLM. Straight up. There has to be a system of checks and balances here, because anytime you give someone all authority and power with nothing above them, what do you think is going to happen? And that's exactly what's happened. And going to continue to happen till the people come forth with a group and find a way to check this with oversight. The power is within the states, and that's what Utah's been doing for some time, is waging this battle. And they've been waiting for other states to join them. They are on the cusp of doing something monumental. I've talked about it here recently, but they were wanting other states to come together with them in making that move. In this battle, it was going to cost them millions, and that was the biggest thing. But as we talked about, what was the $13 million price tag to change the game forever? This was them making a move to take back all the land here in Utah, to take it away from the federal government, because they said that they could make the money. There's enough minerals and resources there to turn a profit. And basically that's all the BLM and the federal government's in here doing. We talked about the uranium and everything else when it comes to Oregon. It's all over the place out here. And it's obvious because that's where they've set up shop with all their alphabet gangs. And, you know, what's sad is, you know, history remains a mystery at this point. They'll wisp everything off to the Smithsonian. You'll never see it again or hear about it. And like I said, if you're out there trying to find the answers, they're going to try and smoke you. But the BLM can hop on their bulldozers and say, oh, we're going to clear a road all the way down this ridge. Okay, we got to have it done by tomorrow afternoon. Okay, plow it all out. There goes history. No one gets in trouble. Nothing's said. There needs to be, in order, checks and balances, some oversight on these people to hold them responsible for their actions. Anyhow, just letting you know they're committing these atrocities. I'll leave a link. It's been Dabu 7. Eyes open.
Well, we start going into discussions about going to Utah, and they start building roads. You gotta say, I mean, you gotta admit, it is kind of intriguing how the minute we start talking about Moses' body out there, the minute they start pushing on construction and mineral sales. I mean, come on, you know what's going on. I mean, you know? Alright, so this is from tonight. This is a couple hours ago. Another land grab dispute. Utah battles feds over control of Bears Ears land. Alright.
Believe it or not, we have yet another battle being waged here between the federal government and the states in regards to land. And you're talking, once again, the federal government wanting to snatch up land under the guise of calling it a national park. Now, there's a lot of pristine and very beautiful countryside in Utah. I've driven through it one time, and I've got to say, out of all the places I've been in the United States, Utah stuck out more than any other place I've ever driven through because of the vast canyons and just beautiful landscape across it. Now, they have taken several places, and they don't allow you to do much of anything except for what they say when it comes to these parks.
Walk
now,
through.
This changes things, because if there's a lot of land, and say ranchers have been grazing on these lands for a long time, as soon as they say it's a national park, this shuts them all down. This kills them. And not a word's ever said about it. But the people in the state of Utah know this all too well. And they, for one, have been putting up a huge battle. I talked about this here recently as well. They're fighting the federal government, and it's going to cost them like $14 million to have this case taken on seriously. And that was the question. Did they have the $14 million to do this? Because they're so strapped. But they say essentially, if they take back all this land, that it will pay for itself. All the minerals, uranium, gold, I mean, you name it, that's in the land here, that's the whole reason they say the federal government wanted it to begin with. Not because of its beauty, not trying to protect it, because they turn around and they cite how they go against protecting things all the time to put in their pipelines, their fracking, their drilling, I mean, you name it. They're making moves left and right to grab up the land. And Utah has said, we're going to be done with it. We want to fight them, and they're wanting other states to come along with them in this battle. Problem is a lot of the other states have been crippled in many ways, or have things being held against them, or they have governors or senators that have sold them out, as well as sheriffs. But they're holding strong here, and what they're saying is this land that is known as Bears Ears is the area they're targeting. And if they have it their way, they're going to come here and they're going to get their hands on it. And it's in a very remote area. Even the governor says the only time he's ever seen it is out a plane window. It's out there, but hey, does that mean that they have a right to just, since no one's out there, go out and claim it and say no one can do this or that? You have to understand there's so many rules that are put into place when they make these moves. Hell, you can't even fly an aircraft over these areas.
So, you can see there's something out there named Montezuma right there. You know, just to make it more mouth-watering.
The national parks, nowhere near them. Couldn't even fly a drone, a parrot drone, 10 feet in the air. I mean, isn't that what the parks are there for, is to take in the beauty and to be able to show people and everything else? I mean, they're stopping people from doing so many things. Now, we've talked about this before when it comes to even Mammoth Cave here in Kentucky. It's underground, yet you can't fly above it. Nothing special up top. But or is there? They don't want you to see what's going on from above in a lot of these places. You know, that's why I've been going out to places like Serpent Mound, and I'll continue to go to other ancient places, hopefully Chillicothe Mounds, and get the shots of these places from an aerial perspective so we can actually see what's going on. Because oftentimes when you zoom in on Google Earth, they leave things out. They don't want to show it for what it is, and you never know what you're going to find till you go there. And there's a lot of history in places like this. But are there people running in here and destroying it and all this? No. There's no one even going out here. 700-year-old cave dwellings. They just want to put it under their control.
So
then you have to start looking.
You heard that. Dwellings. Those are caves people used to live in 750 years ago.
What's underground? When you start doing that, it starts to become clear what they're doing. And look at the percentage of land that they own west of the Mississippi. Your jaw will drop. Yet Utah is putting up the fight. And this is the latest land grab situation going on there. I just wanted to make people aware of it. I'll leave a link. Till next time, it's been Dabu7.
Alright, so again, when Joshua...
Believe it or not, we have yet...
When Joshua goes through the land, Moses passes away. This is when you start to get your valleys of this, your valleys of that. These are where these valleys are named. People keep telling you, well, they're on the other side of the world. These wars are going to take place right here. These people are going around claiming the caves so they can try to control the cave system that's under the ground. I'm not going to go into it. They're natural dwellings. Your ancestors dwelled in them. It's perfect for you right now. But sitting at home watching these fucking videos isn't going to get you any step closer. If you're sitting there and you're wondering, what can I do, what can I do? Make sure you have your shit packed. Sell off your excess stuff. Make sure you have your camping gear. You can go to utah.gov, and when you're at utah.gov, type in, it states I want to, and you just type in unclaimed, and it won't even let you spell the word before it already gives you what you want. It says search unclaimed property or unclaimed property holders report system, so you can click on either one, and it takes you to mycache.utah.gov, and as you scroll down you can learn about land that is unclaimed for sale. There's also another one, landwatch.com, and you can select the region, the U.S. state. You can scroll down to Utah and pick the city and county. can pick Moab. There's all sorts of actions you can do, but it's more important right now that you have your gear. So, pray about it. Talk to you later.